Anchored in Hope is a podcast that takes just a few moments to reflect on pop culture and what's making headlines in the news and helping to bring a perspective of hope no matter where you are in life or what your situation is. We want to help women facing hard, life-changing decisions, along with men as well, to see how what's going on in the world can relate to their everyday lives and how not to focus on it from a doom and gloom perspective, but through a lens that's anchored in hope for everyday life. What's the number one thing the world needs more of after love? Is it acceptance? Is it tolerance? Or is it a standard 3-day weekend upheld by federal law? It's none of the above. What the world needs more of after love, by biblical definition, is a call to action and understanding. Not only would so many iconic TV shows agree, such as All in the Family, The Jeffersons, Good Times, Home Improvement, Family Matters, and Big Bang Theory, and many others, but the Bible leads in this top answer where it originally states, "Love thy neighbor as thyself." Some might say, we understand how the world needs more love. There is even a famous song written about it called "What the World Needs Now is Love." But how do you get that the world needs more actionable understanding from love thy neighbor as yourself? Most anyone knows how they themselves want to be treated. Take, for example, if someone made a mistake and they knew it not only needed to be corrected, but they also need to be punished for it. But they got to choose their own punishment. How understanding do you think that person would be to themselves in knowing that they made a mistake and in giving themselves a punishment? That is what actionable understanding is. Who would dish out the harshest punishment to themselves straight out the gate for a genuine mistake? This type of genuine, actionable understanding does not equate to tolerance or acceptance. It equates to treating someone who might be or think different from you, or may even have offended you, by responding in a way that empowers that person to succeed while keeping their best interest at heart. Actionable understanding is a practice that takes time to learn and do, as all those TV shows demonstrate in different ways and in different episodes as they deal with their actual neighbor counterparts on each show. One show that demonstrates this principle well across cultural lines, specifically across white and black cultural lines, is The Neighborhood, starring Cedric the Entertainer, Tisha Campbell, and Max Greenfield, and many other great actors. Now, as great as this show demonstrates this principle, and I will tell you why in a moment, some might argue that if you treat everyone like this, many will get taken advantage of by purposeful repeat offenders. And that's why I want to clarify and reiterate that this episode is about genuine mistakes or disagreements. We can dedicate a whole other episode to those that do you harm on purpose and what to do in those situations. But please always keep in mind, if someone is trying to do you or someone else physical harm to one's person or property, I am always recommending calling the police for your safety. But this episode is about what we find in common out in the world, inside and outside our homes. We find people who are genuinely busy and have important places to go and things to do, or just going through hard times, or whatever the reason, and just happen to offend us in some way, whether it be via their actions or the way they think. There is a big difference from those who do this on purpose and those who do this in just the passing of living life. If there was a cultural, impactful show that pivots the times we are currently living in a direction that builds bridges rather than walled barriers, it's the show The Neighborhood. This show depicts how to not just tolerate or just accept cultural differences from a distance, but to take actionable understanding and getting to know those who are different from us, and at times might even offend us. This show does this better than any diversity and inclusion seminar that I have ever seen. It depicts a white family named the Johnsons who moved from the Midwest to a predominantly black neighborhood in Los Angeles, California. We see over time how their interaction between their new neighbors, the Butlers, a black family, influences them as well as challenges them, along with the Butlers being influenced and challenged as well. As the Butlers, the black family, begin to trust and build genuine relationships with their new white neighbors, the Johnsons, we start to see clearly as both families take actionable steps to understand one another and how each family begins to influence one another's perspectives, their actions, and even their property value. And yes, I am talking about the amazing home renovation upgrade to the Butler's home after the Johnsons moved into the neighborhood, and how the Johnsons' eyes were open to things such as discrimination and property value evaluation of black people's homes. Each family's eyes were open simply because they chose to be understanding of each other in genuine, actionable ways, where they put the best interest of their neighbor first when engaging in favorable times as well as confrontational times. So why reflect on all of this? These are lessons that we all can learn from, no matter who you are. Christian and non-Christian, pro-life or pro-choice, black, white, or anything in between. I am not saying that anyone has to tolerate or accept just anything. But what if when we meet someone who we offensively disagree with, our first actions or even our last are not to seek to hate or torment or try and force our way of thinking on them or try and control what we don't understand or like, but seek to first understand, especially in our actions. Now, with everything I'm saying, it does not mean that we don't set up laws and policies that are for the proven and measurable benefit of all in the long and short term. But no matter who is in power in this country, no matter what our differences or dislikes, what if we choose to disagree from a place of seeking to actionably understand the human being who we disagree with? We listen and still value and respect their perspective, though different from ours. And we do this simply because they are human beings and their life has value, no matter how it may differ from your own. No TV show has ever been perfect in their storytelling, but the show The Neighborhood does all that I described in a visually character-driven way that we all can learn from if we would take actionable understanding and loving our neighbor as ourselves and actually apply it, especially when we disagree.